My name is Milan Martinovic. I work for Dell, for the Cloud Client Computing Division. Cloud Client Computing Division, Dell is specializing in specific type of solutions, and these are desktop virtualization solutions. So I'm specializing product-wise in VICE. Now, VICE is not standalone product, it is the desktop or laptop, but it is part of the enterprise solution when we are using desktop virtualization in the data center, and it is used only as a client device. So in my presentation, I will be talking actually about desktop virtualization. So presentation is called 100% virtualized. A few years ago, there was a campaign of the virtualization vendor that was promoting 100% virtualized. It would mean that there are few steps you can do in your data center to get there. So starting from this kind of setup, when you have physical servers in the data center running your services like SQL servers, PAN servers, Oracle, whatever you need to support your operations in the data center, and desktops in the office space. First step in coming to 100% virtualized was actually server consolidation project, where we would change the big number of servers with small hardware specifications, with a small amount of RAM. We would consolidate them to fewer servers with stronger specifications, with much more gigabytes in RAM and stronger CPUs. And we would put the hypervisor instead of use operating system as a bare metal installation, and our services, our server workload we would put in the virtual machines. Most of the company in enterprise already did this step because there are practically no downsides and benefits are clear. This is like a halfway to 100% virtual rate. And what I mean with 100%, I mean also to move the desktops to the data center. Now, with this kind of server setup, you are much more flexible. You can deploy new servers more easily. It does not require procurement of the additional hardware. You are independent on the actual hardware chipset on the servers when it comes to the virtual machines. The virtual machine is practically easily movable around. You can have you can implement high availability scenarios, disaster recovery scenarios. It is much easier for you to do the cloning and updates. And you can have also heterogeneous infrastructure of the servers, because hypervisor as a layer between virtual machines and the physical hardware is abstracting this hardware and making it completely universal for the virtual machines. Normally you would put the files of the virtual machine on the central storage because of high availability, and this way you are only adding computing power to the server side. If you want to move the desktops the same way to the data center, well, there is one step in between that I would suggest. In any enterprise, even if we have the desktops in the offices with the applications, operating systems, completely operational independently, they are depending on the data center on some services, like Exchange server is in the data center and so on. But still, I would not recommend to keep data on the desktop, because data is at risk at the desktop from the security point of view, and also it is risky. Hard disk cannot function, and it is hard to maintain backups. It is hard to manage this data. So one step in between before moving complete desktop to the data center could be the project of moving the user files to the data center. And I have seen customers that are already there. They have shared network shares, and all user documents are redirected. This way the users are instructed to save the files on the network share, or there are some domain redirection policies or the document or something like this. So if we are moving data to the data center, we need to procure some additional storage space for these files. If we completed these two steps, it is quite easy to move the rest of the information that is on the PC. Now we need to move the operating system and applications. There are benefits doing that, the same as with the server virtualization, but there are also some downsides. And there are also many ways how we can do it. There are different technologies available today, different deployment options, and different vendors who are present today in enterprise. And we should consider each use case and choose the best solution for this virtualization scenario. Now, when the operating system is moved, we do everything centrally also for the desktop operating system, and we are becoming independent of the hardware of the endpoint. We just need the client device connecting to the data center, and this makes running and deployment of new seats much more easier. Now, why would we do such things? For example, you know the best what is your infrastructure, how it looks like, and what challenges you have today with the PC. Some typical examples are that we have hundreds of desktops. We are procuring them over a few years. Now, usual life cycle of the desktop in the enterprise should be 3 to 5 years. But somebody has desktop 10 years old. Some of the operating system on the desktops today are old as Windows XP. This is preventing us to do the infrastructure upgrades when it comes to the services. If you want to do the operating system migration to the latest operating system, maybe we are limited with the old hardware we have in the endpoint. So it is much harder for IT to keep up with the business requirements. The operating system in the data center, it is only coming down to deployment of the new set of virtual machines. We replace, let's say, Windows 7 virtual machine with Windows 8 or 10, and we connect from the same endpoint, and we don't care if the chipset is outdated or whatever, because this endpoint is running just the client. Then the operating system and applications and the data are in the data center. Of course, we are also improving the security. We are mitigating the risk. The data is compromised if it is sitting on the endpoint. One of the most important points in desktop virtualization is also to to lower the cost of the infrastructure. Now, when it comes to the desktop, first thing that you can think of is how much will you pay for the desktop, and alternatively, how much will you pay for the alternative thin client and respective data center infrastructure that you need in the data center to run the remote sessions. This is coming down to CapEx, but there is also one important point, and this is OpEx. Because if you have hundreds of PCs and you have heterogeneous environment and you have heterogeneous operating systems and applications, all the things you need to do that businesses are requiring you to do are much harder and involving also some impossible hardware upgrades or procurement of the new endpoint and so on and so on. So actually you're gaining also flexibility, but also to run this desktop heterogeneous environment is costly. Constantly when it comes to maintaining the environment just to keep it running. We are trying to address this by virtualizing the desktop. When it comes, what we can offer as Dell in this type of project, we can offer all the components end to end. This would mean in the data center, we have world-leading servers, storages, and networking components that will run your virtual sessions. On the endpoint, we have thin clients. We are using Vice set of products. That is, Vice is old company as much as Dell, more than 30 years ago. 30 years old. We have a lot of experience. We have the biggest number of partners when it comes to the endpoint. And Vice was always specialized in endpoint, and we can say we are the experts in this area. Our thin clients are very good value. And also the software part. We have management tools for the desktops and all the necessary middleware or monitoring components. With the services, we will support you from beginning to the end. We can start with the consulting. When it comes to the deployment in the emerging region, we are relying mostly on our partner network. And Dell is well known by his post-sale support quality. Our components will build a solution when it comes to the hardware components, but also with this hardware we can deliver different types of the solution. Main deployment types today in the desktop virtualization are full VDI and terminal server type of deployment. There is difference in technical capabilities between these two options, but the main difference is cost of the licensing. With VMware Microsoft or Citrix, whatever we publish, terminal server session or full desktop operating system as a single virtual machine, we need to pay Microsoft because we are publishing the Microsoft operating system and Microsoft is deserving compensation for his product. In case of VDI, licensing policy of Microsoft is that you need to subscribe to publish the desktop on yearly basis. So cost is significantly going up if you see that you need to pay some cost every year, something that is like a licensing. When it comes to the remote desktop session host or terminal server, necessary licensing is actually RDS CAL, remote desktop services CAL. That is paid once, it is perpetual license, and you pay it once as when buying, let's say, Windows Enterprise for a desktop, and you don't need to pay this cost every year. This is why, from the licensing perspective, this solution is making more sense for the business, in case it is also fulfilling from the technical point of view. When it comes to the endpoint, we have different types of the thin clients. Most commonly implemented, and what I see as the most realistic project, is thin client that is tied to the desktop, that will replace our desktop PC. So it will be thin client in a desktop form factor or all-in-one together with the monitor. Mobile and ultra mobile thin clients I don't see so often. Maybe in some other region it is more bigger percentage of the market. But what I see as the most common projects in this area is thin client replacing the desktop. Now we can split the desktop thin client models in several categories by hardware power. We have classified them in 3, 5, and 7,000 series. 3,000 series would typically be something running the remote session that is running simple desktop environment with the, let's say, office suite, some kind of business CRM, internet browser. This is an example of the thin client of 3,000 series. 5 or 7,000 series we would choose in case we have more demanding use case, if the session is heavier or let's say burdening the hardware more. This would be if we are using 2 or 4 monitor labs with big resolutions, so there is a significant amount of data going on, and we need more hardware power in CPU or some kind of 3D graphics or higher multimedia. So with this range of products, we can cover pretty much all the use cases. And what I see most commonly implemented is 3,000 series, and sometimes 5,000 series if we have, let's say, unified communications implemented or some kind of more demanding sessions.
When can we use the ultra thin client?
Ultra thin client is positioned on the market as portable USB stick that is not actually USB stick but HDMI stick. So when you open it, there is HDMI connector that you can plug into some kind of display that you might have on hand. For example, if you are in a hotel room, you can plug into the television set in the hotel room or wherever you are, there should be some display device that you would use. Why should you use such device? It is actually originating from the business requirement of some companies who want to have mobile remote workers with published resources, even if this is a single application, few applications on a full desktop. But this company also wants to have total control on the access device. Because if you would connect over the open internet from some kind of personal tablet, company cannot enforce policies they want from the security point of view. And on this ultra portable stick, they can, with the central management tool, enforce all the needed policies. So they will give you this device, you can go anywhere, and when you are connecting with the approved device from the company. As I said, I don't see too much demand in this.
It's a big difference between the ultra mobile and the desktop.
Well, this is pretty much mobile phone without the screen. So this Cloud Connect that we have is based on Android system. So when you boot it, it is a little bit customized with the look and feel. It is not looking exactly like a mobile phone. And but you have connectors for Citrix firmware or Microsoft. There is an agent on the Android that can be connected to the central management tool that we call Cloud Client Manager. In the Cloud Client Manager, you can create a set of policies. When you boot the device, the user is logging in and activating service and connecting to the Cloud Client Manager, receiving the policies, and then the device is configured according to the policies of the company. And when it comes to the mobile phone, yeah, you will also have a screen, but it is a small screen, and this you can connect to the much bigger display. I don't see very big demand for that. Mostly we work with the desktop team clients, and this project makes sense here. So we can have offices with 100 or few hundred of desktops. We want to make some optimization. We want to save on cost. We try to implement, let's say, terminal service type of solution in the data center. We consider what is needed. We can use simple clients that are easily to automate, and we can have a project that makes sense from the business point of view in quantity also. And these are for also something that we are offering, but this will be used by much smaller number of people, if any.
One other question, please. I currently for a thin client solution in the company. What I don't understand, why we need different power on physical thin clients? The computing power is not located on the data center. For example, I need to use a thin client for a computer that will have one single display,
Yes.
but need a very big CPU power for some simulation programs. What thin client is recommended?
Yeah.
So why the thin client needs to be stronger?
Yeah, actually, your simulation program would be running in the data center.
Yes.
And you would be only seeing the session.
Yes.
But if this is some kind of dynamic graphics, you will be receiving to the thin client very big amount of
Yes.
data that needs to be rendered. And normally the 5 and 7,000 series thin clients have stronger CPU that is able to cope with this, and also stronger graphic cards. Because the graphic cards will also influence or impact the performance of heavy graphics.
So the CPU power on the thin client is used only to display the information received from the...
Yes, CPU power on the thin client is normally used only to process the session information, not to run the actual application. I can give you an example. For example, if you are using Horizon View, then you will be using PCORIP protocol. PCORIP protocol is sending a big amount of data if the session is dynamic, like watching the remote movie, let's say. There are different mechanisms used in transcoding different types of information in different packages or different type of format. But actually you need a strong CPU on the endpoint to render this.
To render the display, yes.
Also, if you are using, and 2 monitors is not so rare to see, but also some customers are using 4 monitors, graphic card of this thin client will not be capable of running 4 monitors, and especially not in big, even with 2 monitors, you can have bigger screen resolutions with these clients. So actually what is important to consider your needs on the beginning, and I will be mentioning that in every video project some qualification is needed as a mandatory. And we need to position the right solution for specific use case and optimal components. Because if we always go to the best, let's say we always choose 7,000 and we always choose full VDI on Citrix or VMware, we will end up with a high cost. And possibly there is another solution with much lower cost that will also meet the requirements and make sense to the company. And this is the second thing. Independently of the software platform, on the hardware platform, there are also different types of the software we have on the thin client. So you can have, let's say, this small 3,000 units with Linux and ThinOS. And also you can have the bigger ones with ThinOS, Linux, and Windows. And Windows can be Windows 7, 8, or 10. So we will also choose the flavor of the firmware depending on your needs. Now, ThinOS is something that I talk most about. During these 2 days, many people approached the Dell desk, and there was running, let's say, simple demo of when thin client is connecting to Citrix and also Microsoft. and the thin client was tNoise. There are many advantages of using tNoise. This is pretty much the simplicity. tNoise is not as Linux, that is 1 gigabyte in size, or Windows Embedded that is 5 to 10 gigabytes in size. It is only 10 megabytes in size. Now, this is purpose-built operating system in Vice for terminals or thin clients that are terminals. We have cooperation with the major virtualization vendors like Citrix, VMware, or Microsoft, and we have access to the source code of the respective protocols. So in this 10 megabytes of code, you have the latest RDP 8.1 that is not based on some kind of open source code. We have PC over IP option, and we have ICA with HDX extensions. Now on 3000 series, for example, we do not have HDX 3D because of the power that is in the box, but on the 5 and 7000 we have also HDX 3D. So you can have very simple operating system. To connect to the remote session, you don't really need 10 gigabytes of kernel, plug and play mechanisms, defragmenting, whatever is in Windows. Yeah. It is also, because of this simplicity and small size, very easy to run and to maintain. If you create a central configuration for one thing, you can deploy with the same central configuration thousands. The only thing you need is to plug them on to the power, to the network, turn them on. They will automatically discover the central configuration location. They will load the central configuration and set up accordingly. In case there is a firmware update, they will update, and this will take only a few seconds. And after that, they will boot up completely ready for the user to log in according to the central configuration. In case of deploying Windows endpoint, if this is a PC, even a thin client that is simpler, but still Windows operating system, you will need much more customization of the operating system image. You need to take care about this SID, unified, unique identification of each Windows if you are joining to domain. So it is not really simple to customize one and just copy to all the thin clients. You also need to do syspreps. Maybe you will need to think about user profiles if you want users to log in with a generic account to the thin client and then to remote session with the Active Directory credentials, or you want to users to log in already with the Active Directory credentials to the thin client itself. You need to take care about the read-write filter, about profile management, and so on. So much more complicated thing to do. So tNoise has many benefits. This also advantage of this, tNoise is locked down, and there cannot be any security problem with malware or virus. Now this is also at the same time disadvantage of tNoise, because if you have business need to install local software on the thin client, like some specialized driver or some offloading component, plugin or something else, you cannot do it on tNoise, but you can rely only on this that is already built in. Now we have invested a lot of development there, so we have most common components out of the box. In case this is not fulfilling your requirements, you need to consider more complicated thin clients based to maintain and run, but also more flexible. So on Linux you can install some drivers, and on Windows you can install pretty much everything. You can have custom software, whatever is needed. So my way of thinking is try to test tNoise. In case it is fulfilling, look no further. If it is missing something, then go for Linux and Windows Embedded. All the other vendors can offer Linux and Windows Embedded. Even if Linux, they call zero client, it is still 700 megabytes of code. You still need to do some updating that is consuming network and time and its restarts. And tNoise is something completely different. And this is unique for us. During these 2 days, I have presented tNoise and showed how the central configuration and auto discover hardware is working, also central management tool, and everybody was really happy with what they saw. And I can point this as a big advantage of Dell. When it comes to the data center side, we also try to make more simple to deploy a desktop virtualization project. So we are offering wide set of, let's say, predefined solutions. We have highly integrated, easy to deploy set of solutions that we call appliances. We have small appliances for SMB, let's say. We have precision appliance For Vice and for Precision Appliance for Citrix. Precision Appliance for Vice is actually connecting to hosting the Microsoft-based infrastructure, and Citrix is hosting Microsoft system with the Citrix bucket. It is for, let's say, 100 to 200, 300 users top. And we have more scalable solutions that are not requiring separate storage. They are easy to plug in into existing data center, and you have everything. This is hyper-converged infrastructure where you have disk capacity, you have CPU, and RAM capacity on each box that we call appliance, with already factory pre-installed software that is easy for you to implement in your data center, and usually with some wizard-like process to incorporate and clone the template and be very fast from delivery to the actual deployment. This type of solution will be interesting for the companies that are looking for streamlined, easy deployment and fast time to value. XC Web Scale Converged Appliance is based on Nutanix solution. There is additional Nutanix solution incorporated. Nutanix is taking care of storage replication between different boxes. So this is actually storage virtualization, and this is why we don't need additional shared storage to run the infrastructure. The other one is based on Rail architecture, so it is running on VMware, vSphere, and Horizon View, and the storage is replicated using integrated VMware solution with SAN. What I see as most interesting and that I'm mostly working with, these are traditional reference architecture. I like them best because they are customizable, and they are usually in a better price per seat, and this is making it easier to complete the sensible solution that makes sense and makes cost benefit to a customer. Now, there are predefined typical components that we use. We use typical server to run management workload, we use typical building block to run computing workload that is actually running the user sessions, and there are some storages that we typically use as a central storage. We can scale this from small to very large environments. When it comes to device software, I think the main part is to say that Thin Client has built-in central manageability features, so we don't need additional product, but the one that we get as a part of solutions, such as Device Manager, that is central monitoring tool, let's say for real-time monitoring. There are central configuration features also built in, so we can automate the configuration and automate the deployment. And this is all built into all our products, beginning from TeamOS up to Windows. So there is video agent, and there are mechanisms that are scanning the network for the central configuration. And on the Windows model, we can also remotely deploy the software packages like connection client, VMware client or Citrix client updates or software updates of Windows, and so on. When it comes to the services, as I said, starting from the consulting services in the beginning of your project, normally we do it without any additional cost. Call us to consider your use case, let us position the right solution for you that we should test, and after that determine what are exactly the right components for you, and create the complete business case, how much complete infrastructure will cost, and what will be the exact building blocks. When it comes to the implementation, as I said, in emerging we are relying mainly on the partner network for this as a paid service, but also we can support your effort if you are doing that yourself. Post-sale support is something very important for Dell, and we can support the complete solution end-to-end as a solution, not on component basis. Our reference architectures are certified also with the respective vendors, so you will have for the complete solution that is designed on our reference architecture, dimensioning, and components. You can also count on the respective vendor like Citrix, VMware, or Microsoft support, and it will be declined from their side. And we can also manage your infrastructure, or in this case also partner can manage your infrastructure. So what is very important in VDI? to choose the right solution. If this will be the terminal server, if this will be full VDI, if this will be Microsoft Citrix or VMware, what will be the correct and optimal thin client. We should consider aspects that when you move desktop to the data center can make impact, because there can be bandwidth issue with the remote location of the internet, there can be latency issue, maybe you need to upgrade some of your applications, because I have seen when talking to some customers that they still have some old application developed in this country for some specific use case years ago. They are designed to run on Windows XP, and this is simply not application that you can just move to the Windows Server or Windows 10. And some prerequisite needs to be met. On the qualification meeting, they will analyze all the aspects, what you are doing on the desktop today, what is your existing data center infrastructure. We will consider if we can use any part of your existing infrastructure, so you maybe do not need to buy complete solution starting with the storage management server and computing server, but only some components that are missing. And after that, we should run the test. After we propose, okay, this could be Microsoft Terminal Server project, we should run the proof of concept when we would install your real application that you need every day and run them in a virtual world and try to connect to prove these applications are working. After that, always there is a production test recommended, so we can get a feedback from the real workers who are working on the infrastructure, if they are missing something that they had on the desktop, if the performance is not good enough, if they have any problems with the infrastructure. After that, we can be sure that we are on the right track, that we have chosen the right solution. Maybe during these steps we will change the thin client model, maybe we will change vendor or broker vendor or something. And but after we complete steps 1, 2, and 3, we can go full scale and be certain. With the desktop virtualization, it is not easy to say by the book, okay, we will have Office and these applications, let's go with the terminal server, we will need 1 GB of RAM per user and this many storage for files, and sell the solution, and then when implementing, there could be many problems that we discovered during implementation if test is not done. What I would point to you as useful tools. First of all, there are reference architectures I have been mentioning before. So, in the reference architecture, these are few hundred pages documents for different solution type, Microsoft, Citrix, and VMware. You can see the testing methodology, the components used, the proposed sizing per user types. So you can have different user types per workload of the session. And we have tested all the scenarios. We will show you the real numbers, and also this is what is certified with the respective vendors. So this is very good information if you want to consider what is the real infrastructure that you will need. Now, the components for your exact use case, you can see configured by the solution advisor. So this is available on the internet, on the Dell site. So you can Google for Cloud Client Computing Advisor and Dell, and you will, one of the first hits will be the beginning page of Cloud Client Computing Advisor. There are advisors for all 3 solution types, for Microsoft, Citrix, and VMware, and also for the United States, EMEA region, and Asia Pacific, and Japan. And you will choose for EMEA region which one you want to configure. For example, I have run the sample of the Microsoft configuration. Then you will be in a wizard-like process answering some questions to describe your use case and what are your needs. If you want shared storage, tier 1, or you want local storage, tier 1, do you need additional licenses configured, do you want what is your user type profile, and so on. After the wizard, you should end up what is the number of users. We also need monitors, what is the standard server type that you want to use for the computing workload. When you finish the wizard, you will end up with a solution summary that is actually giving you all the required components. Now, when I said on the beginning, That was a server consolidation project that almost everybody has done. I rarely see that somebody is considering desktop virtualization without also completing the server consolidation project. Now, this solution advisor will throw out that you need 2 management servers. It is like 10,000 euro cost in the capex. Since the management virtual machines in the desktop virtualization are connection broker, web interface, licensing server, few virtual machines that you can probably run on your existing server virtualization platform, probably you can eliminate some of these components. And this is why I say I like reference architectures, because they can be customized and they can align to your existing infrastructure, and you can cut down on cost by buying only necessary components. Another tool that is not official that I have created, so I could more easily consider the real use cases and to present real numbers to somebody for his specific project. Now, I often face a question when somebody is asking me how much virtualized desktop will cost per seat. It is very difficult to say, because I don't know exactly the data center components, I don't know exact licensing, if this will be terminal server or VDI. So I can, in this Excel file, I can adjust for after the initial qualification meeting, when we consider what would be possible best solution for you. We can put the real numbers, number of users, in the components needed and licenses needed in the Excel file. This Excel file has a few pages. After you go through all the pages and fill all the required information, you will end up with the summarized result, how much PC infrastructure, terminal server or remote desktop shared host infrastructure, or full VDI infrastructure with all the licensing and hardware and thin client hardware will cost you after some years. You can also adjust the refresh period, the refresh cycle, in your case for the PC, refresh cycle for the thin client, and what would be observing period for the final number. I have no more slides, and I have few more minutes left. I wanted to show you this Excel file in more details, and maybe to together with you to do a small exercise for some typical use case as I see in everyday work. So, in the beginning, perception of everybody when desktop virtualization just was out on the market. Everybody thought it is very cheap and you should replace desktop by default by thin, because thin clients are very low cost, like $50 or $100. And perception of everybody was that desktop virtualization is direct replacement of PC with a thin client and very big saving in cost. But after you present all the infrastructure needed and additional licensing needed, now the perception is that the VDI is much more expensive. With this Excel file, I want to show you that it, of course, depends on the solution type deployed and the licensing used, but you can get different numbers, and you can have, as it is now, much less cost in a terminal server, even with the full VDI, compared to some examples when you have PCs. Now I have 7 more minutes, I think, and this should be quite enough. Now I have put here example of 400 users. We can do 200 and 305 and 10,000 users if you want.
Let's try 2. On extreme
200.
The small one? No, less than that.
Let's try the 200.
50.
We can easily come back to this screen and change the number of users. You will see how numbers are changing live. So 200 of users, I already know it will end up with the 2 computing servers, because 200 users you can easily run on one box, and another one you need for high availability. In case of having 2,000 users, you will have N+1, so you will have better user density per server, and you will have better ratio. We are getting actually another complete server, so we are losing 150% of the initial cost just to have high availability. If we end up with a big number of users, it will come better for the VDI case. So I have put this as advanced users because these are the normal office workers that use, let's say, 5 to 10 applications. This is normally office use, some desktop applications, and they deal with some normal multimedia and normal size, deal with normal size of the files. Now, ROI is calculated, or this number here is shown after 8 years. We can also change this to more or less. And I have considered that the PC refresh period is 4 years. I can change this to 5 or 6. But in normal enterprise, the expected time would be 3 to 5. So this is why I put 4. Even if I change to 5, it should not change anything when observed on the 8 years. And the thin client refresh period, well, if we are replacing PCs on 5, then thin client must be a longer life cycle, so at least 8. If we change here to 3, maybe we can change the thin clients to 6. So we will have on 8 years 2 times PC replacement and once initial cost, and after 6 years another 2 purchases of the thin clients and 3 purchases of the PCs. Now, when it comes to the prices of the licensing, I can change these prices, yeah? But desktop PC I consider as a capex to cost €350 without operating system license. It can be more or less, and we can also adjust this number. In your case, you put whatever is right for you. Thin client I consider as €350. This one you will buy for €250. So I did not put the lowest price. We are also on the roadmap. We have thin clients that will cost like €150. That will also be ThinOS based and quite powerful to run the normal desktop sessions. So this is kind of worst case for us, or let's say worst average case for us. I have considered the cost of the data center infrastructure with some prices that are approximate for the network switching, management server cost that is smaller in RAM and CPU, and the computing server cost that has more RAM and more CPU power, so more expensive than management server, and also computing server for VDI that is even more expensive because we need even more power to run, let's say, 200 virtual machines with a desktop system instead of, let's say, 6 terminal servers for the same number of users. I have considered some cost of the Microsoft licensing. It can be more or less, I think I'm in the realistic range. Also the server license needed. RDSCAL, VDA in case of VDI type of the deployment, and other vendor broker in case we are not staying with Microsoft, but we are also buying Citrix or VMware. On the second page, I'm actually calculating the cost of the power. It is not insignificant. I have calculated PC to be, let's say, 150 watts per unit. It will work 8 days, 8 hours, 5 days per week. You can put 6 or 7, whatever you think is right for you. And for 48 calendar weeks, because of the vacation period and so on. So you will end up with one PC to spend almost €30 if the price is 10 cents per kilowatt hour. In case of the thin client, it is 15 times less power consumption. This thin client is using less than 10, it is like 5 or 7 watts, but I have calculated with 10, it will not make a big difference because we end up only with €2 per unit. And also in case of thin client deployment, you will have additional data center equipment that also spends power, that you don't need with the PC. So this is calculated in the virtualization case, also power that is used for the server. Now if you consider that one, and I have calculated 24/7 for the server, that it is not turning off at all, even at night. Now it looks like a big figure, but actually if you have 2 servers running 200 sessions, you will divide €800 with 200, you will come up with a few euros per seat. So it is really not very big cost. The biggest difference when considering cost of the PC and virtual desktops is running cost. Now, obviously this is many times overseen, how much it takes to invest to run the infrastructure. Let's say we have 200 desktops. Well, on the first year and on the 6th year or 5th year or 4th year, we need to deploy them. Let's consider this is a Windows system. So you will not just connect it as is, but you need to do some customization. You need to install your applications, even if it is Office, but also some company applications. You need to connect it to the Active Directory, and you want to put some security policies on it, whatever. You need some customization to do that. Even if you have the central image that you can deploy between the clients, still after the image is deployed, you need to do some customization related to this specific thing. So this is cost of the rollout. So if you are paying IT administrator, let's say in emerging region, €500. In UK it is much more, yeah? But let's say €500, and this is net, not total cost for the company. Then, if you need 2 hours to deploy one desktop, it will mean 500 euro per month, 20 working day, 25 euro per day, or 3.5 euro per hour. So 7 euro is actual cost of the work power to deploy the PC. Also, you have the cost to run the infrastructure during the years. So you will have something to do, upgrade applications, fix some problems. This hardware will malfunction more often than the thin client. There is some cost. Well, we can go into these numbers, but you consider all the costs that you have with the PC. For example, some companies has 10 employees just maintaining the PC, and because they are expanding, they need to employ more people just to make the system running. With the thin clients like this, you just plug it in, turn it on, and nothing to do. So cost is much lower. So one company here in Timisoara told me that they are paying desktop 700 euro when buying new equipment, and for 3 years they are running it, and during these 3 years they have calculated the cost of running the PC is 700 euro for all 3 years. So it is almost 200 euro per year. My numbers that I put here are less than 100, so it is like 75. So we can discuss this, but actually you put your real numbers because your business case is depending on this. I don't want to sell everybody this solution. If you say you will run your desktops for free, put 0 here, and it will end up that it makes no sense for you to change to VDI. But if you put something that you really feel it is the cost, and you come up with a calculation, it makes sense to change, then it will be really true conclusion. Now, number of computing servers is dimensioned because we have put 200 users. If I go to the project sheet and put here 2000, this will move to 8 servers to run terminal server or 11 to run the full VDI. This sizing is done per reference architecture standards, and this is number of users that you can run on the specific standard cost, depending if this is terminal server or full VDI, and depending on how heavy the user session is. So in case of advanced user, it is less than standard users, and in case of professionals, it is even less. So this is taken into consideration, and this is also capex in your calculation for the data center side. Management servers, you still need 2, because you have still, let's say, cluster of the connection broker and the same components. In case you are reusing your existing server virtualization hosts, you can put these management servers to 0, because you don't need additional server to run management.
So maybe we don't need storage.
Storage, if you completed the migration of user files to the data center, this is the biggest capacity you need. And when it comes to...
you already have the file set, or the storage after storage.
And then what storage you need in the data center is to run the virtual machines servicing the sessions. And this can also be local storage in the server. So this server, if it's 20,000 euro, it has enough disk for this workload. But also you can consider storage and to buy it or to remove it from here, depending on the exact situation. After this, you come to TCO page, where everything is added. You see, first part is the PC, and there is some capex in the first year, in the 4th year, in the 7th year, depending on your refresh life cycle. That will change depending on what you put on the first page. And this is less than what we need to run virtual desktops, because with virtual desktops we need to buy thin clients, and we also need to buy data centers. So it can be, capex is usually bigger in a virtualized desktop infrastructure. But when it comes to this cost, that is real to run the infrastructure, and much lower in case of terminal servers and in full VDI. Even if with full VDI we have significant cost of licensing every year, that even can be avoided if you have some kind of Microsoft agreements or lower than I calculated with. You come up after some years that, let's say, RDSH solution is much less expensive than full PC. Now, these are also the graphs, how things are changing during time. I am 5 minutes over time, and this is pretty much what I wanted to show you. I didn't want to go in all the product details to show you how many megahertz we have in each new light. I wanted to tell you the high-level story. I hope there is something that maybe changed your mind if you thought different before. I would ask you, after all, come to us, call us, we can consider your exact use case, what you are doing, is it good use case for the desktop virtualization, what will be exact components, and we can go more deeply into exact analysis for your cost, and after that, you will be able to make the business decisions, and we will also support you in all the steps in between when it comes to test. And this is all from my side. If there are any questions.
About the network web IP for time.
Network is one of the things that we should consider. When it comes to the headquarters, where we have LAN, having in mind the one session, normal session is, let's say, 200 kilobits up to 500 kilobits in average. Local LAN is more than enough to run. We should consider.
We tend to use only in local LAN, so we don't.
So pretty much nothing to think of.
Okay.
We should consider this when it comes to the remote office. I have a real experience with a company who was running, let's say, 20 seats in a branch that were on 2 megabit connection, and they had issues when somebody starts to print or something like this, when there is a peak. They changed to 4 megabits and it worked perfectly after that. So this is something to consider. But when we have gigabit infrastructure or even better in the local LAN, this is perfect. Also latency is pretty much nothing.
What server do you use? Something like that is scalable, like Blade, or if you need more power, you can use something.
We recommend regular servers are 730 for the computing workload, but you can also use the Blade server with the similar specs in case you do not want to add, I don't know, Apex cards or NVIDIA Grid cards that you cannot put in Blades. Yeah? So you can pretty much have the Blade with a similar RAM configuration and CPU power and run the same workload. Also, if you do not have local disks, if you run the virtual machines on the shared storage. In case you want local disk, then rack mount is the best. Or in case you are using GPU cards.
My thesis for simulation department, they use actually some very high performance workstation with the dual cell 64 gigabit of RAM. They start on telling me that is not enough. If I replace or upgrade the workstation after a year or two will come again, that is not enough. So maybe this can be a solution.
Yes, but not the case I showed here. Graphic workstation virtualization is a specific use case. We also cover that.
It's not graphic. It's simulation using computing.
Well,
only CPU power.
But you can move this in the data center. If this is Windows 7, 8, or 10, you can put it in the virtual machine. Because of the heavy application, you can assign, let's say, 2 or 4 or 8 gigabytes of RAM per machine. You will size the RAM on the server accordingly. You can consider also not to assign 2 virtual CPUs, but maybe 8 per virtual machine. And in case your demands increase, you just reconfigure the virtual machine to add some RAM or to add more vCPUs.
This is the intention.
And actually your server accommodating, let's say, 50 users will now accommodate 30 users.
Yes.
But you don't need to throw it away to only improve the performance. If you have, let's say, 2 or 3 servers, you add 1 more.
This is why I ask
To scale.
Blades
Yeah.
to scale.
This is actually the flexibility aspect of the virtualization. Thank you.
Thank you very much.